Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim or Cimnanya, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So today we'll be talking something very important, and it's about this conservative man, Charlie Kirk, who actually he is planning to discredit Martin Luther King Jr. and his civil right, and he is planning to launch a campaign against MLK. And I am asking, why is it that they always look for a way to do some silly things when it is like, he's, yes, 2 days ago was MLK's day, right? And why did he not launch this along way back, a long time ago? Why did he start launching this just right now that he just finished celebrating his day and all that? The reality and the truth is that they always look for a way, to find themselves in Black people's circle, because it looks like when they provoke Black people or when they say some certain things about Black people, it gets them view and clicks and all that. Because tell me why just all of a sudden he did not start this campaign long time ago, but just recently he wants to start this campaign. You know what? Let's get into this video.
I am so sorry, but we're going to talk about Charlie Kirk real quick.
What role does Blake Neff have in creating content on ML? Because I said,
what have I done this time?
No, this is what the best part, right? Because I mentioned Blake. And he says, what role? Well, this is a perfect time to release it. This is a perfect time to announce. Little did this reporter know that Blake Neff is director of MLK history at the Charlie Kirk Show.
Yeah, it's my new title right there.
Congratulations,
right there.
Blake. Wow,
Director of MLK Truth.
Wait, MLK,
I like the white MLK better. White MLK.
He's also known as the white MLK.
So as you can see, Charlie Kirk is a racist. I think it's pretty apparent to say that. And he specifically chose Martin Luther King's day in order to come out like this. This was his whole strategy. I looked this up on, I'm not going to watch Charlie Kirk. I looked this up on the Media's Touch that you're on this right now. And they have an entire smorgasbord of excerpts from that, including him calling Martin Luther King a bad guy, saying that his name implies treason, which is idiotic, and that segregation was a mistake. And I know that this is racist rhetoric because if you go on Twitter, there's another person, her name is Lauren, who gives a shit, and she was talking about, he's telling the truth, he's right. And if you scroll down like one comment, it is immediately anti-Semitic. Like, it's just full of anti-Semitism. And now see, Charlie, you would think with his big ass head that there'd be some brain activity going on there. But he wants to act as if like things were great for Black people. He's saying that like, oh, it was a mistake because the community's gone downhill ever since this and yada, 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 yada. As if, there were no incidents that happened to Black people. I can't think of a single instance that happened prior to the Civil War or prior to civil rights, I should say, that might have had an effect on Black people. Nothing about like cities being flooded, bombed, just massive racism to the point where lives were lost. Just nothing. He's totally right. Things were so much better prior to the Civil Rights Act. And look, this is what these conservative grifters do. They have to go mask off because they are courting a more and more extreme audience. First it was somewhat subtle, right? Oh, we're not racist, we're just the alt-right. Now we're at full mask off racism. Overt as fuck. This is the new platform. That's literally the directive for him and most likely his ilk. So expect to see more of this, especially in February, because that's going to be the primo month to do this. But just know, these people are idiots and racist. And if you think they're telling you the truth, do I have to say?
This article from The Wired came out a couple days ago, and again, I just think it is so fucking laughable. How many people will invoke the name of Martin Luther King Jr. to advance their own goals and ideologies, but then quickly turn on him? How Charlie Kirk plans to discredit Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Act. Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk is preparing to launch a campaign against MLK and the landmark civil rights law he helped enact. Conservative activist and Turning Point USA co-founder Charlie Kirk has a lot of opinions on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In 2015, Kirk called him a hero. In 2022, MLK was a civil rights icon. In December 2023, speaking before a group of students and teachers at America Fest, a political convention organized by Turning Point USA, Kirk struck a different tone. MLK was awful, Kirk said. He's not a good person. He said one good thing he actually didn't believe. For decades, conservatives have pointed to King and his idea that people should not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character as a model for equality. For a while, Dr. King's stock was very much on the rise in the conservative circles and Republican parts, said John Wood, a Republican activist. It's been understood on the right that even though Dr. King wasn't really one of us politically, he was still a good liberal. And again, this is why I say to so many of you who still carry the title or are comfortable carrying the title as a liberal, you don't if you truly believe in human rights, but you still carry that title, just know that it is being weaponized constantly. You're one of the good ones. Do you know how demeaning that should make you feel? Like, why would you even want to be in that sphere to be even have one of them label you as one of the good ones? Like, it's a bunch of nonsense. It's to placate. It's to say, oh, well, we can deal with some of them. We can steamroll some of them. But if we can't do that, then you're not one of the good ones. They literally unalived Dr. King. They took his life for what he was fighting for. There should be no space or no comfort for them to even say some bullshit like that. For Kirk, the shift on King wasn't an offhand remark, but a glimpse into his broader strategy to discredit the civil rights leader and the landmark legislation most associated with King, the Civil Rights Act of 1964. I have a very, very radical view on this, but I can defend it, and I've thought about it, Kirk said at America First. We made a huge mistake when we passed the Civil Rights Act in the 1960s. If you do not think, especially if you are today invoking the name of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., if you do not think that they are trying to reinstate Jim Crow laws, if you do not think they are trying as much as they can, especially with our prison system, to reinstitute slavery and just reform it into something else, you are not paying attention. They are doing everything that they can to fight against activism. Look at what they are doing with the number of cop cities that they have planned all over this country. Look at what they are doing, bringing RICO charges against Stop Cop City activists in Atlanta. This is not just isolated. They are coming for the whole fucking thing, and they are telling us to our faces. Turning Point USA, founded in 2012 by an 18-year-old Kirk to organize conservative students on college campuses, has grown into an ideological force in right-wing politics. Again, they are organizing, they are forming, they are creating these communities that for some reason so many of us leftists are refusing to, one, get educated on so we know how to adequately fight against this, but two, actually form these communities. We cannot think that we can just do this shit online and that it's just going to magically happen. They are literally planning and plotting as we speak. I'm going to skip down a bit. Kirk argues that the Civil Rights Act, which bars discrimination on the basis of race, ushered in a permanent DEI-type bureaucracy, referring to diversity, equity, and inclusion. He illustrated how the law has gone wrong when responding to a question from a student who said they became the subject of a Title IX investigation after posting an Instagram story mocking transgender people. Title IX, which was passed as part of the Education Amendments of 1972, banned schools that receive federal funding from discriminating on the basis of sex. King was 4 years prior in 1968. The courts have been really weak on this, Kirk told the America Fest crowd. Federal courts just yield to the Civil Rights Act as if it's the actual American Constitution. The law is ultimately a way to refound the country and a way to get rid of the First Amendment, according to Kirk. I want us to hear what he is saying. He is saying that the Civil Rights Act infringes on people's First Amendment right to literally be fucking bigots, to be racist, to be homophobic, to be transphobic, to be misogynistic, and everything else under the sun. They are literally telling us to our faces that they are trying to get rid of things like the Civil Rights Act because they believe that it stops them from being who they truly are, which are terrible people. We continue to have these conversations about fighting within these parties, but look at the Democrats sitting here quietly. Look at how Republicans are choosing to organize. Look at how they're going and holding all these fests and speaking to all these college students and really pushing these radical far-right ideals. Yet, when we even try to have conversations about universal health care, there are still motherfuckers that are telling us that that's too radical. We are losing this battle because we are refusing to form the community and gain the knowledge and the education needed to fight against our oppressors. We have got to change the ways in which we think about this situation because they have been planning for a very long time and it is becoming more and more successful. So many liberals get on here and talk about Project 2025. We are now in 2024. Why are none of the Democrats talking about it? Why are none of the Democrats doing anything to address it? Why are none of the Democrats organizing around ways to stop it from happening? If those things cannot be answered, we cannot pretend like we are truly fighting this battle. We are busy having these nonsense conversations about Joe Biden and all this bullshit when they are literally playing in our fucking faces. It is fucking time to organize. It is fucking time to get educated. Let's fucking go.
William Turton reports for Wired, Trump-aligned activist Charlie Kirk plans to undermine public respect for MLK. Kirk wants to undermine public acceptance of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Ostensibly, Kirk is upset with diversity and inclusion programs and supposed limitations on free speech. And for the sake of scoring points on those issues, Kirk is willing to move the Overton window, taking unfashionable, even unthinkable fringe ideas and moving them into the public square by presenting them as reasonable points of discussion, making the extreme mainstream. Kirk indicated that one of his producers, Blake Neff, is already working on hit pieces. Blake Neff had been a chief writer for Tucker Carlson. Neff resigned from Carlson's show in 2020 after CNN exposed remarks that Neff made online under a shielded identity, remarks that were both racist and hostile to women.
It really frustrates me when pro-voucher folks and folks who disparage public education call school choice things like vouchers the civil rights issue of our time. Because legislation like the Civil Rights Act was about expanding, among other things, the use of public spaces and resources to include people who had been left out via racist policy in the past. Finally, someone has made the hypocrisy abundantly clear. Charlie Kirk, big school choice guy, founder of Turning Point USA, has decided to go all in disparaging Dr. Martin Luther King on the day, celebrating his legacy, and says that the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. So next time some school voucher person says that vouchers are the civil rights issue of our time, ask them what they think of actual civil rights issues like the Civil Rights Act.
Every MLK Day, we see some pretty wild takes, but Republican Charlie Kirk has decided to have the worst one this year. He tweeted, "The deification of MLK and his proto-DEI ideology." For anyone who doesn't know, DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's basically replaced the term woke in a lot of right-wing circles. Anyways, Kirk goes, "His proto-DEI ideology marks the exact moment that the progress of Black America goes sideways, alrighty. Their cities disintegrate, their families collapse, educational progress stagnates, they become enormously dependent on government support, crime explodes, and 25% of Black men are incarcerated by the age of 25, and he finishes with, "You will know the tree by its fruit." To start with crime, we can see that the US prison population does not explode with the passage of the Civil Rights Act. It actually explodes in the 80s, which happens to coincide with the election of Reagan and the adoption of neoliberal economic policies in the US and globally. As for the quote-unquote collapse of the family, we can see that divorce rates are up for all racial demographic groups, so I don't see why you would blame that on MLK and the civil rights movement. He talks about black Americans using government support, which did go up after the Great Society programs. While I definitely have issues with the way some of those programs are structured, we can see that many of them, such as Medicare, disproportionately help the black community. He also talks about cities disintegrating, and I'm sure he's talking about places like Detroit. It is tragic what's happened to Detroit, but I think it has a lot more to do with things like outsourcing than MLK.
So this is all I got from this video. And why is it that every MLK this and there is always drama, and not just drama coming from reasonable people? It's always drama coming from people that look I don't know, conservatives, activists, because that is what he is. And I don't know what he is looking for, but then coming out to start an anti-MLK campaign next week is just something I really do not understand. Why didn't him start it long time ago? Why is it that they always look for a way, they always want to shine with black people? I don't know if that is correct to say. They always want to shine using black people. I think, yeah. Why did he not start all that long time ago? And why was he waiting till it is MLK's his day to start the activist or campaign that he wants to start acting on? It's really crazy how these people wake up every day and just choose to be silly, because that is what it is. Because how would a full reasonable person come out to do that? I am sick and tired of waking up every day to them wanting to gaslight themselves, not even black people, or wanting to trend using black people, because that is what it is. You know when they get sometimes they try to get black people upset just to trend or just to get clicks and bed and all that. Because what in the nonsense is this? Really, what in the nonsense is this? Because it is not making sense. How would somebody even wake up to say that MLK is a huge mistake? Really, I really don't know where to start from, but it is just it's kind of crazy how all the time their plan is to discredit people's effort, or people's effort, because somebody that fought so hard for whatever he believed in or whatever he fought for, and all of a sudden, each time it is time to celebrate that person, all you people want to do is to put out attitude or put out a show, because it's more like a show this time around. Well, all they do is want to put out a show to look for a way to discredit the person and make the person make it look like the person never did something. We all knew that he did a great job and all that. I really don't know why does he want to launch this campaign against MLK? Why is it now? See you all in my next video. Bye for now.